What is good, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling with Fans podcast. This is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle, and this week we are talking bad WWE Creative. After catching parts of Raw and catching up on it a little bit this morning, I've got some things to get off my chest. And that is the main topic of the show today. Before we dive into that, let me just remind all of you wonderful people out there that we live stream every single Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching the live stream now on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're listening to the audio version, links are in the podcast notes down below to check out the YouTube channel. Join us live. Always have a good time here live on the Wrestling with Fans podcast YouTube channel. And of course, you can follow us across social media, facebook.com/wrestling with fans. Hawk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything we're doing here on the show. Again, the youtube.com/wrestling with fans. You can follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web. Download or stream the audio shows at any time on our website, wrestlingwithfans.com. New audio podcasts are posted every single Saturday morning at 6:05 a.m. Eastern. Start your weekend off right with the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Or you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Get us wherever you get your podcast fix. We can be found on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all the majors. Wherever you get your podcast fix, just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Or if there's a platform of choice, you can go to wrestlingwithfans.com/links. And there are links to all the major podcast platforms where you can get your Wrestling with Fans fix. And last but certainly not least, the old-fashioned email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Questions, topics, comments, them fire wrestling memes. Love making those wrestling meme videos here for you guys. So, wwfshow@gmail.com. Now, what I want to talk about tonight is WWE's booking decisions. Now, during the Thunderdome era, it was kind of hard to really gauge live audience perception and things like that. But now that we have live fans back, we had all hoped that WWE would kind of change up their booking philosophy. But alas, it is the same old shit. But we're also getting the same thing in these championship contender matches. Now, the premise of these championship contender matches, instead of saying it's a number one contender match and having two contenders battle it out where the winner receives a title shot, or in their words, title opportunity, we have the champion wrestling a challenger in a non-title match, where if the challenger wins, that challenger would go on to receive a future title match. Case in point, the main event of Raw last night. Nikki Cross and Charlotte Flair. Now, I'm not sure what direction they're going for the Raw Women's title. Obviously, Charlotte is kind of demanding a rematch based on Rhea being involved in her loss to Nikki. Nikki taking full advantage of the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashing it in. And then Rhea also wanting to get another chance to get the Raw Women's Championship back from Nikki. So for the main event of Raw, they set up this championship contender match, Charlotte versus Nikki, where Charlotte Flair pins your Raw Women's Championship, or Raw Women's Champion, Nikki Cross. So a week after winning the belt, Nikki has already lost. She has lost her first match as Raw Women's Champion. Now, I don't know about you guys. Obviously, this whole Nikki superhero persona is geared heavily towards younger children. It is not for 40-year-old males. It's not for 20-year-old males. It's more for little kids. And that's fine, and it's fine and dandy. That's all fine and well that this is the audience for this character. But when you have someone like a Charlotte Flair, who your key demo, your 18 to 49 demo, your key demo, especially in the male 18 to 49, the majority of those 18 to 49 are not, we're smarter to the wrestling business. I'm trying to find the right words here because it's really frustrating to watch. We have someone like Charlotte, who I think after her win at Money in the Bank is a 12-time women's champion. And at first, when I saw Charlotte had pinned Nikki, I thought, great. She's already a 13-time. They're going to try to get her to 16 by the end of the year. But as it turns out, it was just one of these contender matches. So your brand new champion, a mere week after cashing in her briefcase, has already suffered her first loss. And in the eyes of a lot of your key demo, that 18 to 49 male, we already aren't taking Nikki Cross very seriously because of the persona that she is now portraying on TV. And I like Nikki Cross. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on Nikki Cross. But this whole superhero thing, it is not for me. Again, it's not geared towards me. But when you have Charlotte beating her after a week, you already define her down. A week into her title reign. I don't know why Vince and company can't just have contender matches. Why can't Vince and company, allow contenders to develop? Now, remember, there was a time, we can go back in all different eras of wrestling, but look at someone like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, he is a huge exception to many rules when it comes to professional wrestling. But when he first started getting hot after King of the Ring, when he first started blowing up after King of the Ring, WWE did not pull the trigger and instantly put him in the main event picture. He spent a year fighting for and winning the Intercontinental Championship, had the great match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania, and eventually they worked towards Steve Austin winning the title at WrestleMania 14. Nowadays, it seems like you get a hot act, you put them in a contenders match, they beat the champ in a non-title match, and then they get a title shot the next week. It's this thought process that I think has really been a detriment to WWE in the last decade at least. You have your champions losing non-title matches on a consistent basis. But then when the title match comes, they either win or there's nefarious goings on in the match, a DQ, a smosh finish, something stupid. They won't book a finish. And it's these championship contender matches, the 50-50 booking, that has seriously made WWE borderline unwatchable. To the point where there's been weeks where I don't watch Raw or SmackDown. I only watch NXT and Dynamite. SmackDown, even with the small roster that they have, put on a pretty good show. Raw, on the other hand, is repetitive beyond belief. And it's really disappointing knowing that with the vast roster that WWE has, we get the same repetitive matchups every week. They don't. I remember a time when you'd have two guys set up for this big collision course match at a pay-per-view. We'll just use SummerSlam as an example because that's the next pay-per-view coming up. You wouldn't have them wrestle each other or in tag matches or anything for weeks leading up to the show. They'd be wrestling just random guys with their opponent, maybe watching from ringside, interfering, doing a run-in at the end. But no, we get the same matches week in, week out, and then we're expected to care when they put these matches on pay-per-view once a month. And to be perfectly honest, I'm really getting tired of it. I'm really tired of seeing the same stuff week in, week out, month in, and month out. Because we've seen Charlotte and Rhea ad nauseum over the last couple of months. And now we have Nikki Cross in the mix after she cashed in Money in the Bank. But what are we going to get at SummerSlam? The only official match for SummerSlam right now is Nikki defending against Rhea and Charlotte in a triple threat match. I don't want to see Rhea and Charlotte wrestle. They need to separate them for a bit. They had an amazing match at Money in the Bank. I praise the match highly. But then they had the rematch on Raw, and now they're going to be in a triple threat match at SummerSlam. With the large roster that they have, we shouldn't be seeing so many repetitive matches. They need to go back to that old philosophy where you make them pay to see the match. That was always the old booking 101. Never give away anything on free TV. And of course, that kind of went out the window during the Monday Night War era, when the only way to get people to view the show consistently and get those numbers up, first and foremost, was A, good storytelling, and B, putting on amazing matches every week. But in today's modern era of wrestling, they just can continuously give away the stuff for free. It used to be, I remember as a kid, you'd watch primetime wrestling, you'd watch All-American Wrestling, you'd watch Superstars, hoping to see Hulk Hogan. And you may see once in a blue moon a Hulk Hogan match on one of those shows. And obviously they were pre-taped in the arenas during live events. But the whole idea was to get the fans to go to the live events, to go to their local arena to pay to see Hulk Hogan wrestle or pay for the pay-per-view. But now they're just giving away everything for free, week in and week out, and then expecting people to care once a month on a match that we will probably see the following night on Raw anyway, again. So I was really hoping that when fans returned, we'd see a slight change in booking philosophy. We'd see some type of change in how WWE is handling its TV product. But sadly, it is the same old shit. One more final note from last night's Raw. Let's talk about Karrion Kross. Your NXT champion. Last week, losing in 1:40 to Jeff Hardy. Now, according to Frightful Select, the plan going into Raw this week was for Jeff to pin Karrion Kross yet again. But unfortunately, Jeff has tested positive for the coronavirus. So, of course, we'd like to wish Jeff a speedy recovery from the Ronas. But instead, we get Keith Lee answering coming out to wrestle Karrion Kross. Keith Lee, who returned last week to lose to Bobby Lashley. So this week you have Karrion Kross, who lost to Jeff Hardy in a short match. You have Keith Lee, who lost in a pretty decent match, although be it short, it was under 6 minutes, to WWE Champion Bobby Lashley. You square these two guys off, someone's got to lose. These are two guys that, Keith Lee is in his mid to late 30s. In today's days, 35 isn't really an old wrestler, but he's not a spring chicken anymore. He only has, realistically, especially somebody at his size, maybe 5, 7, 8 years left at the peak of his performance. Keith Lee was so over in NXT. They let him put on amazing matches. They told good stories. He debuted earlier this year. He did beat Randy Orton early on and then kind of got lost in the shuffle and then disappeared for 5 months. And since returning on last Monday's Raw, he has now lost 2 consecutive matches. Keith Lee is a star. He is unique. He's a big boy. Keith Lee is not a tiny guy. He is a large human being that can move like a cruiserweight. And for WWE to have him come out and just put on these boring style matches, losing to Lashley and then losing via submission to Karrion Kross last night, you are doing Keith Lee a big disservice. And Karrion Kross, I know a lot of you guys that listen don't watch NXT, but last week when Karrion Kross came out to cut a promo, they kind of acted like his loss to Jeff Hardy didn't happen, but the crowd made sure to let everybody know that they knew Hardy had pinned Karrion Kross. There were loud and long Hardy chants during NXT to the point where they had to refilm the segment to get those Hardy chants out. Which begs the question, why have him lose to Jeff Hardy in under 2 minutes? Unfortunately, it's going to be a few weeks before we see where this story goes. With Jeff testing positive, I would imagine he'll have to be out, the 10 to 14 days. So we're looking at least 2 weeks of no Jeff Hardy. 2 weeks to not continue that story to see where it might have went. But again, from that Frightful Select report, it seems that Kross was going to lose a second time to Jeff Hardy. I don't know why you have Karrion Kross dominate NXT for 18 months. He's a 2-time NXT champion. He did miss a significant amount of time with a shoulder injury. But otherwise, he has dominated every single person he has faced. But you have him lose in under 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy via roll-up with his feet on the ropes. I'm honestly surprised they didn't have Kross lose again to Keith Lee. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, there's some reports by several, wrestling outlets that Vince is, quote, sending a message to the NXT guys that, while you may be big in NXT, you're just another guy here on Raw. And that is the exact opposite of how some of these guys should be treated. Guys like Karrion Kross, guys like Keith Lee, they are superstars. They are big superstars that can main event pay-per-views, potentially main event WrestleManias. Matt Riddle is the same thing, the same way. Granted, he has been in a high-profile position on Raw in the last couple months with Randy Orton and RK Bro, even though Orton's kind of been MIA. Matt Riddle has been in a prominent position, even though he's kind of a goofball and he's kind of playing up the comedic value a little too much for my liking. Matt Riddle is a bro. He's a bro. Like, he's going to be bro-ish. But they've got it, instead of turning it up to 11, they got it turned up to like 25. And that's all fine and well. I know there's a lot of people out there that like it, but I wish, Riddle would be slightly more serious in this character, but still, be the bro. But, it seemed like he takes things a little more seriously than he actually does. But, if I was a guy in NXT and they asked, or they were talking about calling me up to the main roster, I would respectfully decline. Because once you get to that main roster, you lose everything that's special about you. Again, we'll go back to Karrion Kross. They took away the lights. They took away the smoke. They took away the girl. They took away everything that makes him special, that makes him stand out, and just made him another guy with the belt. Adam Cole even said this in the build-up to their match. The lights, the smoke, the pyro, the girl, that's everything that makes him special. But that's also a big part of his character. But when you take all of that away, when you strip that away and just make him go out there a guy with a belt, how do you expect him to get over? You give him nothing to work with. And it's really disheartening that so many men and women get called up. They have these great characters, these great personas in NXT. They get called up to the main roster, and they are literally just another spoke on the wheel. To paraphrase CM Punk's pipe bomb, they're just another spoke on the wheel. WWE is going to continue to put out content 52 weeks a year. They're going to continue to make money in spite of themselves. But they take away everything special about these men and women and just expect the lame storylines and the short TV matches to get them over. And that is not a recipe for success, guys. That is not a recipe for success. And speaking of success, let's look at the Monday Night Raw rating from last night. The last thing we're going to touch on for Raw. The July 26th episode drew a 1.32 rating, which is down from last week's 1.46. The week before, that Raw drew a 1.20 and only averaged a 1.24 in May and June. So they're still up from their May and June average. 1.2 rating or 1.32 rating, is up from where they've been at, but it's still a drop from last week's 1.46. Now, in that aforementioned 18 to 49 demo, Raw drew a 0.49, which is down from last week's 0.57. It was a 0.43 in the final week of the Thunderdome era and averaged a 0.48 in May and June. Now, in the male 18 to 49, it drew a 0.67, down from the prior week's 0.75. In the 18 to 34 male demo, it came in with a 0.4, slightly down from a 0.41 the week before, which is still above the 0.35 that it received average in May and June. Now, for total viewership, Raw came in with 1.87 million in the first hour, 1.839 in the second hour, and then 1.733 in the third, which is huge. Last week, Raw's third hour did 223,000. So this week, it was down over 134,000 viewers week to week. That's not a good sign. Last week, people tuned in. More people than normal tuned into Raw last week. And there was nothing compelling enough to bring them back. Granted, yes, the Olympic Games, the Summer Games are going on as we speak. So you could attest a slight drop-off due to that. But you think with fans coming back, and I know several people saying that they weren't going to watch until fans came back. Well, fans came back, they watched, but they didn't do enough to keep them for the next week. Now, I guess we'll see what happens in 2 weeks when the Olympics are done. Because, again, for those listening the audio show, NXT will be on the Sci-Fi Network this week and next. So for all you NXT heads, make sure you tune into Sci-Fi for NXT. I imagine those numbers will be down due to obviously the change in network. That always happens. But again, Raw numbers down. We'll see how things rebound next week during the second week of the Olympics. And then we can compare that to 2 weeks from now once the Olympics are completed and there will be no real thing on Monday nights to compete with Raw, at least for another month, because when football comes back, you know those WWE ratings are going to drop again. It happens every year as soon as Monday Night Football returns. Now, one thing, and I wasn't even going to go down this rabbit hole, but I guess while I'm talking about it, I'll bring up something that I think could potentially help WWE. Now, nobody else that I've heard talks about it, but I've said a lot here in the 3+ years of Wrestling with Fans that I personally believe that part of the drop-off in the third hour is the fact that some of the most populated cities on the East Coast are on Eastern Standard Time, obviously, and Raw ends at 11 p.m. Eastern. The majority of that 18 to 49 demo that's going to be, who you're trying to target on Raw, a lot of us are getting up for work the next morning. Like I personally, my alarm goes off at 5:15 a.m. I am not staying up till 11 p.m. to watch Monday Night Raw. Get less than 6 hours of sleep because the time Raw goes off the air, you have to wind down, get to sleep. I'm getting less than 6 hours of sleep every Tuesday, and I'm not going to do that. I go to bed early. I try to watch at least the first hour of Raw, some of the second before I go to bed. But what I wish WWE would try, even if it's just for like 1 or 2 weeks during football season, just to test the waters, and maybe something that they could do in the future to help move Raw up from 7 to 10. Monday Night Football typically starts at 8 p.m., sometimes as late as 8:30. So if Monday Night Football is starting at 8, head-to-head when Raw goes live. If Vince and company bumped up Raw an hour and had it from 7 to 10 on the East Coast, yes, you'll probably lose some of that West Coast audience who won't be able to start watching. If they're able to get a live feed of it, probably won't be watching at 4 p.m. Most of them will be working, coming home from work, getting dinner ready, won't be watching Raw. But you're also going to allow you a reason for fans to watch. If you have that first hour, you open that show with a good hook, whether it be a match to set up something later in the night, a promo to set up something later in the night, an interview to set up something later in the night. You get them hooked, wanting them to keep fans, keep the people to stick around for the whole 3 hours. You hook them in that opening segment. Or you have a fire match like Nitro. Nitro used to always open with cruiserweight matches. And that was how you set the hook for the night. You put Rey Mysterio versus Chris Jericho. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, La Parka, Chavo, Juventud, whoever. You put the cruiserweights out there. You get the crowd pumped. You get fans interested because you know if you're getting cruiserweights early, you know you're getting a good show. But if WWE, even if they put out a fire match to open, then you come in after that match with your big opening, promo that would normally be in the opening segment, setting up your main event that's going to go on at about 9:30, 9:40, depending on how long you want the main event to go. You hook the people in that first half of the first hour. You try to keep them engaged, and then you give them a really good match right at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, right at the top of the second hour, to try to keep, or you even start the match at like 7:50 or 7:55. You start that match there to keep people on your channel when Monday Night Football is coming on. I mean, it's not that hard of a concept in theory, but whether or not WWE could execute well, that is a story for another time. I'm going to take a quick pause. I'm going to play a figure unboxing video. Now, for all of you guys out there who aren't aware, myself and Chris have our own YouTube channel, KC Toys. I've plugged it here before. We have got a lot of videos for you guys. We're going to play a little something from that channel. If you'd like to check it out, I'd appreciate links are in the video description. This is a little unboxing video that Chris and I did. Actually, Chris did. Unboxing some old school vintage toys. If you're into toys, if you remember, I did a lot of wrestling figures here on the channel for a while. All of that stuff is now over on KC Toys with a lot of vintage stuff. Chris is big into vintage. I'm big into modern. So I'm going to play this quick little video so you kind of get a taste of what KC Toys is all about. And again, if you enjoy it, the link to the KC Toys YouTube channel is down below. Our Facebook page and our Instagram are all down below. We'd appreciate all the support for KC Toys. But we'll be right back here on Wrestling with Fans in just a couple minutes. Hope you guys enjoy this video.
KC Toys, I'm Chris, that's Bruce Wayne, and this is a DC Comics, you knew that, Mattel Batman unboxing. I don't do anything modern ever, but apparently I am now because I found a Batman 89 on Amazon for 20 bucks. So we will see what this is like. My partner Kyle, he likes the Marvel Legends. Okay, so if you're not careful, you will rip his cape straight off. Be careful, it's a soft goods cape. Okay, thought I broke it. Thought it was headed back to Amazon. I'm not really a fan that I have to cut this tag out of the cape, DC. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Marvel does it better. Maybe it's a Mattel thing. He's kind of dusty right out of the package. He's pretty cool. It's Batman 89. That is not Michael Keaton. I'm not sure why they didn't put eyeballs on him. If there's any DC multiverse collectors of the Mattel line and you want to let us know a little more about this, we would love to speak to you. Because I don't know anything at all about this line. This was just me winging it. Literally bought it, forgot I had it, decided I was going to open it. Looks like he comes with this little grappling hook gun. It's got a hole in the end for the Batarang, and that's all he comes with. Again, be careful bringing that out. It's got an actual string attached to it. Looks like that goes in there like so. And now this is ready to grapple some up and ascend on up in Tim Burton's Gotham. It's pretty cool, I guess, for 20 bucks, or if you're an ultimate Batman collector. I don't collect Batman stuff at all. I am just a fan of 89 Batman. So, with that said, this is kind of cool, except, you know, I don't know, if Kenner made it, it would probably be spring-loaded and work. But besides that, my suggestion is to cut the string off. Find a way to just pose him with that, because, like, duh, right? It's the Batarang. If he's going to have one thing in his hand, I think it should be the Batarang. You can have him hold it from the little tail piece there, and maybe put some pupils in his eyes to make him look a little more like Michael Keaton. If anybody's watching and you have any suggestions, or if you are a customizer, jump into our messages, because I'm buying. This was Chris with KC Toys, and this was the Batman 89 Mattel DC Multiverse unboxing. Thought I was done, but I'm not. So there's a Joker, very obviously not Jack Nicholson or anything close to Jack Nicholson, but I just happen to be sitting next to a tote of Batman toys that I don't collect. And here's the Toy Biz Joker from 1989. This one was the one, I think he had a little hose that went in his back with a little squeeze, and he sprayed water out of his little flower, or whatever you wanted him to spray. But you'll see that thing is pretty much dead nuts, the costume. So, as much as I hate to say it, anticipate a DC Multiverse Joker 89 unboxing coming soon. and I've got to clean that up. This is Chris. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, win free stuff.
All right, guys, just a little taste of one of the videos that's up on Casey Toys right now. Pretty good stuff. What is good power game? Is it confirmed that CM Punk has signed? I have not seen anything confirmed. I have not seen anything confirmed. He is teasing the hell out of it. Just like Daniel Bryan. Apparently Daniel Bryan the deal is as good as done. But Punk, I have not heard anything official. I mean, I saw something from Ringside News the other day. Excuse me. But, you know, it's Ringside News. And I don't believe a thing Ringside News says. And yeah, I believe it when it comes from a more reputable source. Something like a Dave Meltzer. You know, Sean Ross Sapp, one of those guys. Like the sign. You mean my sign? Something I picked up at Walmart. It is a little light up sign. It'll like change colors and stuff. Like I can flash it and whatnot. It was like $15 at Walmart. I figured it would look cool as a backdrop for the videos, for this, and for Casey Toys. But it is very, very cheap. It's very, very cheaply made, but it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I did side too when it came to Ringside News, because that's always a kind of thing. I seen a buddy of mine post a link to the article that Ringside News said that it was official. But Ringside News is the only person who was reporting it. Nobody else had said anything about Punk officially signing. Now, the rumored innuendo is that him and Daniel Bryan have both signed. Bryan will show up when they have the Arthur Ashe show. And the rumor is that Punk will return at his hometown at All Out in Chicago. But we'll see. Until it's official, or until we see them on TV, I'm not buying it. Power Game, my day has actually been really, really bad. Maybe not really bad, but it's been a stressful day, and that's all work related. And I'm not going to talk about it here on the show just because it would be pretty boring. Trying to think of anything cool I can talk about here real quick, because I do have to hop off in a couple minutes. It's going to be a little bit shorter. I announced that earlier. It's going to be a little shorter of a stream. You can always check out the replay when it uploads, or check out the audio show Saturday. Shown this off before. Maybe not. But for Casey Toys and Wrestling with Fans, I did purchase a green screen a while back on Amazon Prime Day. But I went to Walmart and I'm like, I don't really have a way to secure it behind me to make it work. But I did pick up a $2 curtain rod that I'm going to hang behind me so the green screen can drop right down. The other cool thing I picked up, I don't know if I've shown this off yet, but I got another green screen. I'm not going to take it out because it's a pain in the ass. But it's kind of like a sun visor. It'll fold out and it'll actually sit. It slides down over the back of my chair here. So it's like my own little personal green screen. It's pretty big. It's like this wide, and it's way taller than the viewing window of the screen. So I'll be able to do some cool green screen stuff here on Wrestling with Fans and some cool stuff over on KC Toys. Power Game, I am really wondering where Randy Orton is too. I've been trying to check to see if I've seen anything, but I have not seen anything official yet as far as where Randy Orton is. Let me check, because I usually take screenshots of like news articles I see. Talked about the Karrion Kross thing. See, that's Steven Crowder. I'm not doing the memes tonight. I'm saving the memes for Thursday this week. I did memes every Tuesday, but we're gonna do memes on Thursday this week. Nope, I don't have any other news stories saved. It's been a slow news week. And quite a slow news week. But for those that haven't seen, I haven't checked the match out yet. I need to watch it. I'm going to get it on Fight. The former Zack Ryder, the broski himself, the $1,000 broski, is your new Game Changer Wrestling World Champion. He defeated MDK All Day, Nick Gage, on night one of their homecoming pay-per-view in a bloodbath. Now, I am a part of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast group, so I've seen all kinds of cool pictures. I've seen live videos from major marks who were in attendance. And it was absolutely crazy. I'm looking forward to getting the match on Fight, or if I can find it online somewhere, I'll get it there. But I'll probably support Broski, pick it up on Fight, get a replay of it at some point. But I would, if you're into that kind of thing, it was a death match. So if you're into that thing, I would recommend checking it out. Power Games says, apparently John Cena is staying after SummerSlam and continuing wrestling. I would hope so. But I'm pretty sure he'll probably have some movie commitments to hit. I don't know what his filming schedule looks like, but I would imagine Cena will be around. I know it's the summer of Cena. He's going to be on several shows throughout the summer. How long he sticks around after that, we'll have to wait and see. But guys, I do have to end the stream here. I got some things to take care of here and around the house before I end. Before I do, let me just remind you guys, every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Join the live stream, join the chat, just like Power Gaming. Got a bunch of other people that join in from time to time, but every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. And you can follow us across all social medias, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans, youtube.com/Wrestling with Fans. So again, if you're watching the live stream or if you see this video after the fact, give the video a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. We are slowly creeping up. We hit 100 pretty quick. Now we're at 107. I'd love to be able to get it up there a little more. But a lot of my time has gone into KC Toys, which we're already at 24 subs over there with only 3 videos up. So I'm really happy with how things are going. You can also check us out on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. Download or stream the shows at any time at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows every Saturday morning at 6:05 a.m. Eastern. Or you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. And finally, the old-fashioned email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Questions, comments, topics you want us to cover, or them fire wrestling memes, which you guys will see this coming Thursday. We're going to do our weekly rendition of wrestling memes this coming Thursday. The stream starting at 8. Did you hear about the New Year pay-per-view coming soon? Yes, WWE is doing a New Year's Day pay-per-view for January 1st, 2020. Should be interesting. Wrestlers will be hungover as shit. Again, guys, I apologize for ending a little early tonight. I got something to take care of here at the house. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful Wednesday. And I will see you wonderful people on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk NXT, we'll talk Dynamite, and we'll hit you all with the fire wrestling memes, the best wrestling memes of the week this coming Thursday. But until then, thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. We'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.